The 1960s was an era when Disney magic ruled the silver screen. But beneath the glittering Technicolor fantasies, Hollywood was changing. It was an industry at war with itself, tradition clashing with innovation, fairy tales wrestling with realism. And in the middle of it all came one film that would redefine what Disney magic even meant. Mary Poppins, 1964, wasn't just a children's movie. It was an audacious experiment, part musical, part fantasy, part live-action cartoon, that fused cutting-edge technology with some of the most controversial behind-the-scenes drama Disney ever faced. To the public, Mary Poppins was practically perfect in every way, but behind the smiles and sugar-coated songs were creative feuds, mechanical nightmares, shocking injuries, and one furious author who despised what Walt Disney did to her beloved story. This is Vintaverse, and these are 20 weird facts about Mary Poppins 1964, the untold stories that prove Disney's most magical film was also one of its strangest. Number 20. Walt Disney's 20-year obsession. The story of Mary Poppins didn't start in a boardroom, it started in a nursery. In the 1940s, Walt Disney read P.L. Travers' books to his daughters and made them a promise. Someday, I'll put her on the screen. But there was one problem. Travers hated Hollywood. For 2 decades, Disney pursued her like a man chasing a ghost. Letters, phone calls, lavish offers, all refused. Travers didn't trust him. She feared he'd turn her sharp, no-nonsense nanny into another saccharine cartoon. Finally, in 1961, after relentless persuasion and a deal too lucrative to ignore, Travers relented, but she didn't surrender. The moment she signed the contract, she began preparing her counterattack. Endless notes, demands, and protests. This wasn't the start of harmony, it was the start of war. Number 19. P.L. Travers hated the movie she created. The night of the premiere, spotlights lit up Hollywood Boulevard. Celebrities and royalty streamed into the theater. But P.L. Travers, the woman who created Mary Poppins, wasn't invited. She had to beg Disney for a ticket to see her own story on the screen. When the curtain rose, her horror began. She loathed what she saw. The cheerful tone, the whimsical music, the animated penguins, all of it felt like betrayal. After the screening, Travers cornered Disney at the after-party and demanded the animation be cut. His answer was ice cold. "Pamela, the ship has sailed." Travers left humiliated. She banned Disney and all Americans from adapting her books ever again. Her hatred for the film was so intense, it lasted the rest of her life. To Disney, Mary Poppins was a masterpiece. To Travers, it was a crime. Number 18. Julie Andrews' rejection turned to revenge. Julie Andrews is now synonymous with Mary Poppins, but she almost wasn't Disney's magical nanny. At the time, Andrews was chasing a different dream, starring as Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady. When she lost the role to Audrey Hepburn, Disney saw his opening and offered her Mary Poppins instead. The irony? At the 1965 Oscars, Andrews won Best Actress for Mary Poppins, beating Hepburn's My Fair Lady. The sweet, singing nanny had triumphed over Hollywood royalty, and Andrews' victory wasn't just an award, it was poetic revenge. Number 17. The worst British accent in movie history. In the heart of Edwardian London, or at least Disney's version of it, Chimney Sweet Bert skips and dances across rooftops, cheerfully shouting in what's meant to be a Cockney accent. But anyone from the UK will tell you, it's not Cockney, it's barely English.
Dick Van Dyke's accent in Mary Poppins is legendary, for all the wrong reasons. Van Dyke later confessed he had no dialect coach, no guidance, nothing but a vague idea of what Londoners sound like. The result? An accent so mangled it became iconic, often voted worst in film history. Decades later, Van Dyke apologized publicly, joking that his voice was about as British as a cheeseburger. But here's the strange part. Audiences loved him anyway. Number 16. The banker was actually Dick Van Dyke. Audiences watching Mary Poppins in 1964 saw two unforgettable characters, the nimble chimney sweep Bert and the frail, cranky banker Mr. Dawes Sr. What most didn't realize, they were played by the same man. Under layers of latex and fake whiskers, Dick Van Dyke transformed into the 100-year-old banker, and loved it so much, he begged Walt Disney to let him do it. Disney agreed on one condition: Van Dyke had to keep it secret. So in the credits, Mr. Dawes Sr. is listed as played by Nav Kid Died, a bizarre name that baffled audiences for years.
Number 15. The animation nearly tore the movie apart. The most magical scene in Mary Poppins, Mary, Bert, and the children leaping into a chalk painting and dancing with animated penguins, was also its most controversial. Author P.L. Travers hated animation. She begged Disney not to include it. She called it vulgar, silly, and a betrayal of the books. But Disney refused to compromise. He believed the sequence would define the film. A bold fusion of live action and hand-drawn animation no one had ever seen. The technical challenge was immense. Actors performed on blank white sets, while animators painstakingly added every chalk stroke and penguin frame by frame. Travers was horrified. Disney was thrilled. And audiences? They were enchanted. Today, the sequence is hailed as groundbreaking, a visual spectacle decades ahead of its time. Number 14. Travers' notes were brutal and strange. Most authors dream of seeing their books on screen, not P.L. Travers. When she finally, reluctantly signed her rights away, she began plotting her resistance. During production, Travers sent Walt Disney a 40-page memo filled with bizarre demands and scathing critiques. She insisted Mary Poppins be sterner, less charming, no winks, no smiles. She begged Disney to remove the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, calling it childish nonsense. She even tried to veto the color red in certain costumes, claiming it felt wrong for Mary's world. Disney ignored nearly every note, and with each rejection, Travers' bitterness deepened. The tension grew so intense that when she watched the finished film, she wept, not with joy, but with fury. Travers would later say, "I was betrayed. They made Mary a clown." Number 13. The Step in Time dance nearly killed a stuntman. The chimney rooftop dance in Mary Poppins looks joyful, even effortless. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. A dizzying ballet of moving sets, swinging ropes, and steep inclines covered in soot and ash. During one take, a stuntman missed his mark and fell 20 feet off the set, crashing into equipment below. He broke multiple ribs. Filming paused. Briefly. Walt Disney, known for his perfectionism, insisted they continue using the same setup. The injured stuntman was replaced and the dance went on. Watch closely today and you'll see it. One brief moment where the stumble was kept in the final cut. It looks real because it was real. The magic of Mary Poppins came at a cost, hidden in plain sight on film reels that audiences called family entertainment.
Number 12. The talking umbrella was partly real and creepy. Mary Poppins' umbrella, the one with the talking parrot head, is iconic, but few realize just how strange that prop was. Disney's special effects team built it using taxidermy techniques.
The beak and eyes modeled after an actual parrot specimen to make it unsettlingly lifelike. When Julie Andrews rehearsed with the umbrella, she admitted it felt wrong, like holding a dead bird that might suddenly speak. And when the mechanical head did speak, the effect was uncanny. Glassy eyes rolling, beak snapping open and shut. Crew members swore it seemed to follow them between takes. Number 11, the premiere scandal nobody talks about. Hollywood Boulevard glittered with spotlights the night Mary Poppins premiered. Celebrities walked the carpet, photographers shouted, children clutched balloons, Disney magic in its purest form. But one person wasn't invited, the author herself. Travers begged for a ticket to the movie based on her own books. When she finally secured one, she arrived dressed in black, like she was attending a funeral, not a celebration. Inside the theater, she sat stone-faced as the audience cheered. Every laugh, every gasp seemed to cut her deeper. When the credits rolled, Travers marched to Walt Disney and demanded changes, insisting the animated sequences be removed. Walt's reply was calm, almost amused. "Pamela, the ship has sailed." Travers stormed out, humiliated. That night, she vowed Hollywood would never touch Mary Poppins again, and she kept that promise, even in death, forbidding American writers from adapting her work. Number 10. The chimney set was basically a death trap. The film's iconic rooftop scenes, with Bert and the Sweeps dancing across chimneys under a painted London sky, look whimsical on screen. In reality, the set was one wrong step away from disaster. The rooftops were built on massive raised platforms. The smoke pouring from chimneys was a choking mix of dust and chemical vapor that stung the actors' eyes and throats. The soot smeared on their faces, a sticky blend of graphite and oil that left rashes on exposed skin. During filming, multiple performers slipped on the slick rooftops. One even tumbled off a platform, narrowly avoiding serious injury thanks to a hidden crash mat. Cast members joked about the scene being "step in time or die in time." But behind the jokes, everyone knew one wrong move could have turned Disney's cheeriest number into a tragedy. Number 9. Walt Disney's favorite song was also his saddest. Ask anyone their favorite Mary Poppins tune, and they'll say Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious or Chim Chim Cheree. But Walt Disney's favorite? A quiet ballad that barely got attention, Feed the Birds. Every Friday afternoon, Disney would call the Sherman Brothers, the film's songwriters, into his office. Without explanation, he'd ask them to play it. As the soft melody filled the room, Walt would stare out his window at Sleeping Beauty's castle, silent, almost melancholic. He called it the heart of everything we do. To him, the song's message, kindness to the smallest creatures, defined Disney's vision. But there's a haunting edge to that story. Feed the Birds was played for Walt one last time the Friday before he died. Some say the song echoed through the studio halls that day, like a quiet farewell from the man who built a kingdom of dreams. Number 8. The magic that broke bones. One of the film's most breathtaking moments is Mary Poppins soaring skyward, umbrella in hand, gliding gracefully over London. But that graceful magic, it was anything but safe. Julie Andrews performed many of her own wire stunts, and one nearly went horribly wrong. During filming of the final flight sequence, a rigging malfunction sent her plummeting several feet, slamming her into the stage floor. Crew members rushed to her side, fearing the worst. Andrews stood up, dazed and furious. In her famously polite way, she threatened to quit if it happened again. Number 7. The parrot umbrella's creepy reputation. Mary's umbrella isn't just a prop, it's a character. The talking parrot head cracks sarcastic jokes, scolds the children, and rolls its eyes. But behind the whimsy was something far more unsettling. The umbrella's parrot head was built using taxidermy techniques, its glassy eyes modeled after a real bird's. It wasn't CGI, and it wasn't cute up close. Julie Andrews reportedly hated holding it between takes, saying it felt too real, like it was watching me. Over the decades, the prop became the subject of strange rumors among Disney archivists. Some say the umbrella follows you, its eye seeming to shift when no one's looking. Others claim it makes faint mechanical clicks in storage, though it hasn't been operated in years. Whether it's just creaky old machinery or something else, the umbrella remains locked away, seldom shown to the public. Number 6. The song that haunted Walt Disney. Most people associate Mary Poppins with bright songs, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Chin Chim Chiree, cheerful sing-alongs. But Walt Disney's personal favorite was Feed the Birds, a melancholy lullaby about kindness and fleeting moments. Every Friday, Disney would call in the Sherman Brothers, the film's songwriters, and quietly ask them to play it. As they sang, Walt would sit silently, staring out his office window at Sleeping Beauty Castle. He called it the heart of everything we do. Number 5. The chalk world was a nightmare to film. The chalk painting sequence looks effortless. Mary, Bert, and the children leap into a pastel dream and waltz with penguins, but behind its whimsical facade was one of the most grueling shoots in Disney history. The actors performed against stark white sets, staring at empty space where chalk drawings would later be added. For weeks, they danced, smiled, and pretended to hold hands with characters that weren't there. Their cues marked only by tape on the floor and quiet counting from off-camera assistants. The sequence, just minutes long on screen, took months to animate and composite, a logistical nightmare that pushed the crew to exhaustion. But the strangest element wasn't technical, it was emotional. P.L. Travers loathed the animation and called the chalk scene a grotesque vandalism of her books. According to Disney archivists, Travers' memo during production contained an odd phrase: "Erase the chalk before it erases you." Number 4. The Forgotten Curse of Mr. Dawes Sr. The banker, Mr. Dawes Sr., played in heavy makeup by Dick Van Dyke, dies laughing in the film's climax. A moment intended to be funny, almost heartwarming. But days after shooting that scene, life imitated art in the eeriest way imaginable. One of the elderly extras who'd portrayed the banker's colleagues collapsed on set, overcome, some said, by the stifling heat of the makeup and heavy wool costumes. He later passed away, sparking whispers among the crew. Coincidence? Maybe, but accidents continued. A set painter fell from scaffolding weeks later, and another crew member broke his arm during rooftop rehearsals. People began muttering about a Poppins curse, pointing to the banker's death scene as its origin. Disney never acknowledged the rumors, but some props from the bank set, including Dawes Sr.'s cane, were quietly retired and stored deep in the archives. Number 3. Julie Andrews' umbrella nearly took her eye. The parrot-headed umbrella isn't just iconic, it's infamous. Crafted using taxidermy techniques for realism, the umbrella felt unsettling even when still. But during filming, it proved dangerous. In one take, as Andrews raised the umbrella for a line, the mechanism controlling the parrot head jammed and snapped violently upward, nearly striking her in the eye. Crew members rushed in, terrified. Andrews laughed it off in interviews years later, but on set, people whispered about the prop. The odd part? Multiple crew members claimed the umbrella would shift in storage. Tiny movements, faint mechanical clicks, even unplugged. One archivist swears its eyes seemed to follow him down a hallway during a late-night cataloging session. Today, the umbrella remains locked in Disney's vault, rarely displayed. When it is, staff describe a strange heaviness in the room, as if Mary Poppins herself is watching through the prop's glass eyes. Number 2. Travers' revenge lived beyond the grave. Travers' hatred for the Disney film lived legend. But her revenge didn't end in life. It followed Disney for decades after her death. In her will, Travers placed a strict ban. No American writer could ever adapt Mary Poppins again. This restriction blocked Disney from revisiting the property for over 50 years. Even after her passing in 1996, her estate enforced her wishes with near religious devotion, scrutinizing any proposed adaptation for American influence. When Disney finally made Mary Poppins Returns in 2018, they had to navigate Travers's lingering shadow. Fans noted something uncanny. The sequel's tone was darker, more somber, closer to Travers's books than Disney's original. Number 1. Walt Disney's Final Whisper. The strangest legend tied to Mary Poppins isn't about props or curses, it's about Walt Disney himself. In his final days, gravely ill in a hospital bed, Disney reportedly mumbled a single phrase over and over: "Feed the birds, feed the birds." Nurses thought he was delirious, but studio insiders knew "Feed the Birds" was Walt's favorite song, the quiet ballad he called the heart of everything we do. He asked the Sherman Brothers to play it for him every Friday, and the last time they played it for him was days before his death. Here's where the legend turns chilling. After Walt's passing, staff working late at the studio claimed to hear faint music, piano notes, soft humming echoing through empty halls on Friday evenings. Security logs record no one in the building. To this day, Disney archivists whisper about Walt's song, a ghostly echo that drifts through the Burbank lot when the lights go out. Is it myth? Is it memory? Or is it something stranger? The final whisper of a man who built a world of dreams, still lingering in the melodies he loved most. This is Ventiverse, where nostalgia hides secrets and magic always has a price. Which of these strange facts shocked you most? Do you think Mary Poppins is blessed or cursed? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more forgotten stories from the golden age of film.